Now, if you're a fan of Judy Garland or just a bit of good old-fashioned glitz and glamour, then you might want to head to the Hippodrome this Friday. Renowned jazz cabaret singer Holly Penfield is returning to the venue to perform her tribute to Judy Garland. Let's take a look at her in action. Well, Holly joins us now. I mean, fantastic pair of lungs. How incredible to have that talent. I mean, what are you going to be doing on Friday?
Oh, well, I'm going to do all the songs that are her most iconic, like most of the Carnegie Hall performances, which was probably the greatest concert that ever happened in, you know, the world of glamorous show business, retro show business. And so I'm doing that repertoire, and it's 2 50-minute sets with a little break, and I have a 6-piece band with me that are I just finished a rehearsal this morning, and they're so good, and they're so young and beautiful too. And pretty much working my ass off on stage. I hope I couldn't say that, actually.
So do you change your costume, or do you have one set look? How does it work?
I have a couple of very minor costume changes because it's kind of fun. I always love, you know, all the stuff all the sparkly stuff. But it's really, this time it's about the music. What I'm trying to do is not do an impersonation of Judy, but to create and almost channel this music, the voice, the energy, the spirit of Judy, which was, it's huge. I mean, this last year I've been working on this show, I had no idea that this woman has lungs of steel, or had, and a body. She was only 4'11".
Wow.
But she was furiously strong. You know, I mean, a little side issue, when she used to have her mental breakdowns, which we know she all did, it took 4 men in the hospital to restrain this little 4'11" woman. And her voice was gigantic, and I think it comes from the vaudeville. She started, you know, at 6 or 7 years old. And you know, she danced and sang her way through her childhood, and then her teens in the movies with Mickey Rooney doing all this crazy energetic stuff. So her whole body was like a machine, you know, and she produced a vocal sound that I have really had to work hard. I mean, I've had to get in shape like an athlete to do it, you know.
Oh, tell us about that. So did it start with just watching lots of Judy Garland in action, and then how did you get into shape? What does that mean?
Well, I thought, oh, I can do Judy. I've loved her my whole life, you know, no problem, you know. But then when I started really studying the immensity of her delivery, not only does she have huge physical power to make this great big sound, but she's got so much commitment, so much heart. There's nothing ever in Judy's voice that was false when she was singing. She couldn't sing without pouring her whole heart, and as she said, giving blood, really. And so it's been a physical and emotional journey for me to even come close, which I don't know if I have. I try, you know.
Do you get nervous when you take on somebody like Judy Garland and her work? Because she has such a following, doesn't she?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I didn't realize that was a whole can of worms too, you know, taking on Judy. I just didn't understand that so many people, you know, love her so deeply and profoundly, and that like I do, but I didn't realize how big it was, because, you know, she was pronounced by people like Fred Astaire and all her peers as the greatest entertainer ever. The greatest. Like, maybe like we think of Michael Jackson was the greatest Judy back then, everybody who was anybody in the business thought she was the absolute best. So you know, to even come close to someone like that who had all those years and years and years of hard work and dedication and challenges, all the movies she did that were so complex, singing and dancing, and, you know, the woman was an extraordinary, exceptional talent. You know, something uncanny. Like when she was very young, they used to say that she was a little girl that had the voice of a woman. And it wasn't just the sound, it was the expression behind it. You know.
Now, obviously you're American, but you've been living here in the UK for some years now.
Yes.
What do you make of the sort of cabaret jazz scene in London?
Oh, I just love it. I just love it. As a matter of fact, oops, without sounding like I'm bragging, I often get announced as the godmother of the London cabaret scene because I was doing it like 15, 20 years ago in little tiny restaurants, and then it started evolving and other people came in that were wonderful, you know, young performers, and the burlesque scene happened along with it, and this kind of underground, wonderful cabaret that's quite dangerous, which is what I love. You know, and when I'm not doing Judy, I'm playing all sorts of weird little places, you know, underground, because it's so exciting to do. You know, it's so, it feels like you're a little bit back in Berlin almost, you know, because you are allowed to be dangerous and push the envelope.
So you still see the cabaret scene in London as growing and thriving?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I have loads of very dear friends who are at the head of it, you know.
Fantastic. Well, if anyone would like to see you in action, Holly, you'll be at the Hippodrome this Friday, but you'll be back in the capital, I'm sure, in future months. We'd love you to come and play for us, so make sure you do. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.